Peace, family. Welcome to another episode Underground Railroad Productions. This is your host, Brother Rich. I'm out here with the red pill. The red pill. And we gonna touch. Last time I seen you, we was dealing with hip hop. So we gonna continue the hip hop narrative, right?
All right.
You know, one of the most influential forms on the face of the earth. It kind of, what I want to talk about today is kind of a continuation of the narrative that I built with you, Griff, and Lord Jamal, about in terms of forcing knowledge versus teaching people. There was some comments made by A$AP Rocky that obviously a lot of black people will get upset about. I want to read it to you. So every time something happens because I'm black, I gotta stand up? What the fuck am I, Al Sharpton now? I'm A$AP Rocky. I did not sign up to be no political activist. I want to talk about my motherfucking lean, my best friend dying, the girls that coming out of my life, the jiggy fashion that I wear, my new inspirations in drugs. I don't want to talk about no Ferguson and shit because I don't live over there. I live in fucking Soho in Beverly Hills. I can't relate. I'm in the studio. I'm in the fashion studios. I'm in these bitches' drawers. I'm not doing anything outside of that. That's my life. With that being said, Red, sometimes people think we need quantity in terms to make change. Sometimes people feel we need quality to make change. So it's a quality versus quantity aspect. People are trying to wake up everybody. We got to wake up all black people so that we could make change, so that we could build schools, so that we could build black businesses. Some people feel like, man, fuck waking up everybody. Wake up yourself and the few that resonate on your frequency, and the change will be made and the masses will follow. Somebody as influential as A$AP Rocky, the younger generation listens to him a lot. You being a conscious brother, are you offended by what he said? Or are you gonna let him do him and you continue to do you, Brother Red Pill?
Well, hell yeah, I'm offended what that nigga said. Like, that was some fucking weak shit. That was some bullshit. That was a form of escapism, parting the explicitives to the family. I'm going to consciously control my lingo today, you know, because I know that the youth watch and everything. So, you know, we'll try to wash him up with non-bleach detergent. But at the end of the day, is it race first or is it rapper first? Is it race first or is it, you know, your record label first? What is it? What comes first? What is your obligation, Rakim? That's his government. You know, yes, I understand that the brother may identify as being a recording artist, but let me, you know, update you to who you are. You're a recording artist with quote unquote melanated skin, and it seems that there is not only a covert but an overt op against you, who you represent, most of your demographics, because you have to always keep in mind when you become a quote-unquote contracted artist to these record labels, what they begin to do is take you around Midwest America. They take you to Oregon, Nebraska, South Dakota. You begin to get in front of all of these quote-unquote, it's a sea of whiteness. You know, your manager's European, your quote-unquote financial advisor, the owner of your label, the person who bought and sold you via contract, who has control of your masters. So your master is usually a European. So the illusion of inclusion is these people are safe inside of these record labels. Or the illusion of inclusion is if you're in front of these big crowds and whatnot of these Europeans, you begin to think that not only do they love you, not only are they protecting you, you know, not only are they your best friends, but everything that's taking place outside of, you know, your circle doesn't have anything to do with you. Meanwhile, if you sat down with some of these people that support you, they are violently against the prototype or the archetype of the quote-unquote listener, or the quote-unquote archetype or the picture that your lyrics are painting of. The dude who sips lean, the dude who runs around reckless and all of these other things and moving and work, he's selling the drug, he's whipping the work and all of this. The brother who runs around and only cares about fashion and will do anything to get the latest Mason Margielas. You understand? He'll hit a lick and all of these. So the image that y'all rappers are painting, that's the image of the super predator, the Hillary, Trump, and all of these quote-unquote Europeans that are trying to say, make it legal to kill these niggas in the street. All we're asking is to let us carry out the purge against these non-desirables, useless eaters, quote-unquote menaces to the societies. But do you hear the rappers speaking righteousness? Do you hear the rappers atoning for some of the shit that they talked about, or for some of the things that they did before they began rapping, before their lives changed and they were able to pay a bill? I don't hear them say anything about that. They not disseminating information on 10-step programs on how to basically live longer, because health is wealth. And if you're promoting anything other than health, if you're promoting unhealthy sexual activity, right? Telling a man that he should hit a woman in her anal. Or if you're promoting homosexuality, or if you're promoting species terminus, or if you're promoting taking drugs that have not only been proven to make people's hearts stop and pop, but also taking bars and Xans, which will make a person, commit a crime and not even remember the shit. So you got to be very responsible in your lyrics and understand that when you decide to step out there and promote that lifestyle or perpetuate a death culture, you ought to be held responsible. And when you see quote-unquote Europeans or the law enforcement or the government or the system, however you want to paint it, you niggas got all the paintbrushes. You have to decide at that point, are you going to tuck your tail and say, oh, I don't got nothing to do with that? Or are you going to step up and defend and protect and have a stream of consciousness that speaks to the plight of your people? Or you just saying, I'm just using these niggas to sell records. So that in a sense is treasonous. So at the end of the day, the conversation should definitely begin to shift. What responsibilities do these, I ain't talking about the athletes. I'm not talking about the quote-unquote actors and actresses. We could talk about them later. What about the rappers? What about that part? Well, let's begin to shine a light on the rappers and start to see at what point, at what level do they hold responsibility for the plight of their people versus the upliftment of their people. Okay? By painting all of those pictures of your environment, did you niggas paint a horror picture? And are you responsible for painting a new picture or getting out of the way for people who coming along with new paintbrushes? That's all I want to know. So, I'm ashamed. I feel bad for the brother that that's part of his legacy. I feel bad for the brother that after being exposed to, higher consciousness in this world, or being exposed to a broader perspective of not only who he is, but who we are around the world, because a lot of these artists go into places like Europe, a lot of these artists go on a global shit, and they feel like that the fucking world is bowing down to them because of them. Not because of the work that Malcolm X did, not because of the work. When you niggas go to Europe, that's the work that the Moors did. That's why they kissing your feet. That's why there's rose petals laid out. Because they don't turn their back on the contributions the Africans brought to Europe. They're not like the American over here, the European American over here. So you niggas go across seas and act like the wave started with you. And that's Paul Robeson started that wave, or helped a lot of the quote-unquote Renaissance men of the 20s and the 30s and the jazz musicians and the poets. They started that wave. They helped perpetuate that wave. The troubadours who were in Europe in the 14 and 1500s, they started that wave. And you niggas think you so fly. Blackbird, Zayed, who came from Africa and went up in Europe and taught them how to use forks and everything and how to put on fine leather. He started that fashion wave. Okay? Gators and leather and all that, that's foreign to Europe. That shit comes out of Africa. So, for all of you weirdos that are trying to act like you created fashion or you are the poster child for how niggas supposed to dress and look, and because you got a few Romans who probably want to bend you over and make you touch your toes, yeah, they open up all the doors for your funny ass, you know what I mean, and bring you all amongst them. But now you feel like you've arrived, you Kanye ass niggas. You feel like because the European allows you to wear his slide on slippers and whatnot, that you niggas have arrived. Going back to what the master teachers and what many people have said, the illusion of inclusion. Shout out to Umar when he just laid it out on the Breakfast Club. If my people not doing good, how the fuck you think you doing good? How you doing? You the only flashy Negro in the airport? Huh? That goes back into the days where our people were shackled down and they had these old fancy ass Negroes, being ridden in their little chariots and coaches and whatnot. You know what I mean? With their little pink-toed snow bunnies massaging them and shaking their heads like, damn, I feel bad for that brother. You know, we can't promote that. We can't support that. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a way that's so treasonous.
Let me ask you this though, Red Pill. Would you prefer this ASAP, to be honest? Or not just, like I said, it's bigger than ASAP. We're using this story to touch a bigger picture. And that is, do we need quality versus quantity?
We do. We do.
Would you prefer ASAP to be honest and not speak about it because it's not in his heart? Or would you prefer somebody who's doing it because it's trendy? Somebody who's doing it because it's the new fad. So let me act pro-black, let me throw on a beret, let me do this shit, trick the people, love my people, but I really don't, but it's the new fad. What would you prefer? Honestly, Red, what would you prefer?
I would prefer everybody to stay in their lane. I would prefer people who don't know what they talking about, don't talk about it. If that's not what if you don't have no knowledge, like they're going to our athletes now to speak about quote unquote conscious issues or streams of consciousness, to speak to, things that are taking place. What's good, bro? What up? All right.
Can I get a drop real quick, bro?
Black media, bro. Don't stun on us. Don't do that. All right. Yeah. See? There you have it. There you go. The brother's on Housewives of Atlanta, but he doesn't feel obligated to stop and to build with his brothers who are out here. So he's in his lane, doing what he does. He doesn't feel any obligations to lend celebrity to help promote what he sees two young brothers out here doing, not out here hustling, not out here shaking a cup, you know what I mean? Not out here bothering people. We just doing what we do. But I would want people to be who they are. Be honest with reveal yourself to who you are, to the world. So if you're an athlete or an actor or a person that's in entertainment, that doesn't negate the fact that you have consciousness. That doesn't negate the fact that you are aware. That may not negate the fact that you know about who you are based on your culture and based on the teachings or based on the lessons that you've been picking up through either the internet or through independent research. So yes, you are qualified to speak on black issues. You are qualified to speak on affairs. You are qualified to speak on the narrative. But what would even help better, and this is what the European does, and this is what other people do. They speak on something, but they also bring in experts that are people who they can identify are experts in those fields that can not only speak on those subjects and expound on those subjects, but they are also accredited. This is what they do. This is their lane. You understand what I'm saying? So if somebody let's say that I was a rapper and somebody were to ask me about child psychology, black child psychology and things of that nature, I would state my opinion, but what I would also do is I would refer the person that's asking the question to a professional such as a Umar Johnson. I would refer them to the literature of a Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. What I would continue to do is I would continue to keep both our living teachers alive through the word, by repeating their names and their works, and also our brothers and sisters who are not here anymore, the ancestors. How you doing? Brother Red Pill, what's yours?
Oh, my mother talk about you all the time.
Mama
She watches shows all day, every day.
Do you catch him? Do you catch him? You catch him? Yeah, so, you know, I've seen pictures out there with quote unquote black artists and, you know, they got their black fist up. You know, they got that mean look on their face like they serious. And you could look at it and be like, yeah, they on a trendy shit. They just rolling with it because it's fly right now. But if it ever got too hot, they gonna keep it, you know what I mean? They going right back to their button ups. And you beginning to see shit like that, you know what I'm saying? So if this is in your heart, if this is something that's in your soul, if you have a feeling like this is your purpose and you're willing to sacrifice, because keep in mind, and this is something that has to be stated, that this quote unquote mission of ours, or this quote unquote path of enlightenment, comes with sacrifices. It comes with basically giving up something. I don't know what. Everybody who participates usually gives up some things dealing with materialism, material wealth, and things of that nature. They begin to lose some of the trinkets that are not necessarily concrete, and you know, they go more into the realm of spirituality and dealing with the inner work and dealing with, you know, searching within and stuff like that. So with that being said, you should know, if you, once you begin this path, that there's going to be sacrifices. Sometimes people even sacrifice loved ones, or they lose loved ones based on their metamorphosis, based on their transformation, based on their changing of the gods, or not wanting to eat meat anymore, not indulging in a deaf culture, not wanting to indulge in, you know, watching reality TV or some of the bullshit coonery, you know, not wanting to go to church with people anymore. Things like that happen. And you tend to lose the appeal, or quote unquote the grip that you may have had on people who said that they love you. So this isn't nothing to play with. This is not something that should be included in the quote unquote trends or the fads of the world, because this is serious. This is something that a lot of people went to their graves, you know, penniless and struggling, blind, crazy, poisoned, and all kind of other things in order to be here to teach the family. So we have to be respectful. We have to be honest with ourselves. Is this something that we really want to do? Teaching the quote unquote going against the grain and teaching the people who are considered quote unquote dumb, deaf, and blind, that's not an easy task. You know, reaching out to a people who will cut your hand off based off of the fact that you're just reaching out, that's not an easy task. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of heavy lifting involved, and I don't necessarily feel that somebody should participate in that if their heart and their minds are not in it, because what's going to happen, you're going to be exposed very quickly. You're going to give up. Either you're going to give up, or somebody's going to realize that you're not really in this thing the way that you said that you're in it, because you're not willing to make sacrifices. And you may have the resources, you may have the connects, you may have the network, you may have the access to help perpetuate change. You may be a celebrity, but I only see you at a goddamn rally with your fist up. I only see you on Instagram with a dashiki on, but you're not activating any of your resources. You're not spending any of your assets. You're not going into any of your networks to help perpetuate change in the now. So then it has to be like, God damn, you just doing this shit for a selfie, B. Like, You just want a digital footprint that you was at a Black Lives Matter rally, but you're not activating the true power that you have. Actors and actresses have access to green screens and movie cameras, right? I don't want to have an actor say Black Power on Instagram or at a march. Let them say it at a movie. Write the script. They're quicker to say Black Power and do some Black Power stuff in a movie. That's their lane. That is what they do. They're thespians. Have them act out a role. Oh, brother, I can't be militant because that's not what I am. You a motherfucking actor. So act that shit out. You play the role because you play the slave, you play the drug dealer, you play the corpse, you play the rapist, you played all of the things that didn't help our people. Play a revolutionary, play scholars, play a king, play whatever we need you to play, because that is your lane. That is what you do. You're a rapper. Oh, nah, man, I don't understand all of this stuff. I ain't into the culture. No, you're a rapper. You said that you were perpetuating a lifestyle that is not necessarily you. 50 Cent don't drink and he don't smoke, but what the fuck do we talk about? Smoking and drinking, huh? Future said he don't take the drugs that he talks about, but what do he talk about? Taking drugs. So if you want to be a rapper and you want to act as if you somebody, instead of taking the name of a drug dealer or a goddamn Italian, why don't you take the name of one of our old leaders? Why don't you take the name of a revolutionary? Why don't you lie? The same way that you was lying about all that other shit and perpetuated the spell against our people, why don't you lie and act like you that you down for the revolution? So if it comes down to that, I'm cool with it. Because all they are entertainers at the end of the day, and you're asking too much of entertainers. That's where budgets come in. Let your money talk, black people. What is the sense of having all of this collective money if you're not lobbying it and putting it in a position where that shit could work? This monk said drop it. So if that's what it is, that's what it is. But if they're genuinely faking it in order to get a quote-unquote goddess on their arm, or in order to get some sales out of conscious community for your new shea butter line that you've partnered with the liquor line, I mean, you know, it's going to be disingenuous, and our people could see through the disingenuous, and they don't like that. They're not with that. They want honesty. They want people that are loyal to the cause. They want people that are standing on the truth. They want people that are here from the love of their heart, because they not only love themselves, but they love their people, and it's race first. They for their people, and it's non-apologetic. Like, why I gotta apologize for loving myself? Why I gotta apologize for loving a black woman? Why I gotta apologize for loving a black child? Why I gotta apologize for loving a black man? I'm not apologizing. I love my people. I love them.
So, you know, when a person looks at you and they see the Buddha head, the Ankh, the crystals, they automatically think about spirituality.
Yes.
I remember watching the OJ, I'm gonna get to that in a second, but let me just say this. I remember watching the OJ Made in America, and OJ's friends said a white woman came up to the table while they were eating, and she was like, look at OJ eating with all those niggers. And the friend felt bad. He was like, damn, man, we got all this money and these white folks still look at us as niggas. OJ said, no, you don't get it. She knows who I am. She knows who I am. I'm not black, I'm OJ. So OJ felt as though he was above his race. Back to what you're wearing. People who have a sense, somewhat, they say they have a sense of spirituality, say you have to look beyond color. They're not a color, they're a soul, they're a spirit, so they don't want to associate themselves with a color because it's divisive. What's your take on those who have this mindset, whether it's OJ or whether it's these quote-unquote spiritualists who say, you know what, I don't belong to a race because I am a spiritual entity. I am A$AP Rocky, or I'm OJ Simpson.
Say that shit when you get to the spirit realm. You were here. This is Malkuth. You were in a physical reality. Your avatar has a color that's attached to it. Your spacesuit, whatever you want to call it, your spacesuit belongs to a racial construct, or it belongs to a certain you're a member of a race.
Just like you're a member of a gender.
The same way that you are a member of a gender, so the law of gender applies, right? You know, and I understand the concept of being only human. I'm human, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, but they leave out what the human experience is. Right. So what is your human experience? Is your human experience to eradicate the construct, which is a man-made construct? Race is man-made. The social construct of race is something that was created. So if your job is to come here in your spacesuit to eradicate that social construct, I could understand that. I could get with that. You know what I mean? I would love to hear your approach. I would love to hear how hard you going in the paint in order to basically break that spell or in order to eradicate that quote-unquote construct. But in the meantime, between time, there seems to be a situation on this planet that you reincarnated it and you wanted to have this earthly experience. And if you reincarnated into a quote-unquote European white or pink spacesuit, or if you reincarnated into a brown spacesuit, you have obligations to the people that you reincarnated as. You have obligations to the race that you reincarnated as. You have obligations to the quote-unquote experience that your black ass is about to have. So you're going to travel the world and you're going to realize that there's something on this planet and this earthly experience that you're having that's going on with the people who are against people who have a darker hue. Anywhere that you go on the planet, your spiritual ass will begin to sit down and meditate and come up with a conclusion that, hold on, everywhere that I go, everyone with a tan is having a motherfucking issue. And people that are walking around with a pink hue, they're the ones standing over them and they're in charge and they're ruling things. And then when you study spirit further, or the history of this planet further, you realize that a time prior to their quote-unquote existence or their entry into quote-unquote humanity, things were not operating and occurring at that level, at that frequency, at such a quote-unquote lower level. You understand? At such a quote-unquote frequency that was emitting death on levels that have never been seen on this planet. So meditate on that one right there, and then figure out, as a quote-unquote brown skin, copper tone complexion, dark hued human being, what is your obligations to humanity to uplift the fallen humanity that you see around you of all hues? Because the European has fallen to his lowest of lows. Don't get it twisted. Don't get quote-unquote, don't romanticize the illusion. Don't romanticize the Maya. Don't run around and worship trinkets. Don't think because he's running around smiling and he's quote unquote perfumed up and everything and he's looking like he's clean, that his hands are not filled with blood, and he's completely filthy. All right? There's no atonement for many of the things that have been done in their name. There's no plans for atonement, okay? As a race. We could talk individually, but as a race of people, they are still actively operating in the realm of destruction and pillaging and raping and plundering to this very second that you see this video. I didn't make it up. Go and do your research. Go beyond mainstream media. Peel the onion, peel the layers back, and go deep into your studies, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Last question, Red. Wrapping it up. You know, in the beginning of the conversation, I guess with A$AP Rocky, we was kind of talking about quality versus quantity, and you know, the idea of waking up the masses, or the idea of waking up a select group that could do it on their own. They don't need their masses. What I want to ask you is, why do you think we have this term? There's many terms, but one term that people use is the masses are asses. Why do you think the theme down here has always been that the majority of the people are deaf, dumb, and blind, and that there's always a select group that seem to know what's going on? It seems that if you read history books, it seems to have always been that way. Fact. The masses have always been in the dark, and there have always been a select group. Why do you think it's designed that way?
Man, I'm still doing that research. You know, I'm still doing the research as to why the masses are not aware, right? Because we did a lecture about consciousness before. You didn't put that up. But we spoke about awareness and consciousness, meaning that if I read a script to a movie before I go to see the movie, there are no plot twists. There's no spoilers. I'm aware of the movie prior to going to see it. Like if someone decodes a movie before I go to see it, I'm already aware of it. I'm ready, right? So the fact that the majority of the inhabitants on this planet are not quote unquote aware or awake to a lot of things that are taking place, it speaks to a lot of things, such as the introduction of religion, the introduction of quote unquote the narrative, or the introduction to the social construct on how to think. When you study the quote-unquote the Dark Ages in Europe, or when you study the influence of the Roman Catholic Church on their people, how they kept them dumbed down. This was by plan, in order to control them. But when you go into the jungles of Africa, where people may say these people were dumbed down, or these people were savage, or these people didn't know anything. No, these people did not know European points of view. These people were not thinking in a westernized concept, but these people had knowledge of forestry. These people had knowledge of botany. These people had knowledge of horticulture. These people had knowledge of nature that surpassed anything that these scientists are trying to compile this day. They need multi-million-dollar research and development teams in order to crack that little, that little small shell that these people were inherently born with. So what may be deemed as ignorant, or what may be deemed as unconscious, or what may be deemed as dumb, may be considered very wise and intelligent based on who's encountering them. You feel what I'm saying? So I know religion, I know media, I know the miseducation system, the way that they've designed it based off of making people quote unquote workers. I know through the feudalism system that was in Europe, why they were purposely making quote unquote indentured servants, and people were born. Like if you was born from a farmer, nigga, you a farmer, right? So you don't need to read, you just need to farm. That's a form of control. Going back to what I said in an initial statement about studying who these people are and how they've terraformed and changed the planet and put the whole planet in a dumbed down state. So that would have to go into something higher, spiritual. What procession are we in? They said it's the Kali Yuga, right? The procession of the equinox. Was this, or the Hopis and all of them, all of the prophecies, does it not speak of this society, this generation, or this epoch where the people would not only be dumbed down, but they'll be dumbing down by the day? So going back to what we talked about last week with trap consciousness, right? We now are in the time and the era that the master teachers, Bobby Hemmett and them, Phil Valentine, Delbert Blair, told the people in 2005 was coming. What did they say? He said in 2005, you're going to be considered, your talk and your speech and your message is going to be considered pervasive. It's going to be considered threatening. Your look, what you wear, your colors, your affiliations, your power is going to be targeted. And now we find ourselves in this chapter of the movie, this chapter of the book. So you want to talk about conspiracy theories versus consciousness. Conspiracy theories is this is a theory. It's a conspiracy too. They're conspiring to make a theory real. Because you always got to keep in mind, these European conspiracy theorists, what did they ever tell us that we didn't already know? What did they tell us about us that helped empower us? Did they not implant fear into us? Did they not make their own people seem bigger and madder and more, more tougher? You understand? What were they doing? Did they help uplift the fallen Hiram? Did they pull him out of that hollow grave? No, they didn't. They never bigged up the black woman or the black man. They never bigged up the black child. They never explained how the war against the black messiah turned into the war against poverty, turned into a war against drug, turned into the war that we face right now. They didn't talk about that.
That's another show. Don't give them too much on
I
that.
ain't gonna give him too much.
Don't
Cloth talk. That's cloth talk. But all I'm trying to say is that this planet is being dumbed down. Eating meat that has been tortured, right? The energy, the vibration, the aura, all of the bile that gets excreted in it. You know what I mean? The meat, the soil is toxic. The skies are toxic. The water is toxic. Shout out to Flint. You know what I'm saying? The fluoride. All of these things, the GMO, because remember, real food has messages in it. I went to the Virgin Islands and ate a knip. I had memory relapse. I start thinking about things from past lives because the food has DNA in it that speaks to your DNA, and it unlocks and unravels memory, right? So if the food is fake, or if the food is GMO, if the food is genetically modified and engineered, you're becoming genetically engineered because you are what you eat, all right? So a lot of fake people are running around. They don't have a problem being plastic anymore because they've been eating plastic. Now they're thinking plastic. So when they project all kind of plastic kind of thought forms, fake thought forms, false ideals and all of this bullshit that they teach you in media, the 24-hour news cycle is about gossip now. Yeah, you're being dumbed down. And you're being dumbed down for the slaughter. You know what I'm saying? Because the rest of the world is not, I mean, the majority, but look at where the Asians are taking it. Look at where the Africans, the continental Africans are taking it. Look at where the Indians, the Eastern Indians are taking it. They're not reveling and being dumbed down. They're not celebrating being a dumbed down culture. They are not out there. The world does not see them. I don't know what happens behind the Great Wall of China, but what they project to the world is not a dumbed down people. What is World Star projecting? What is Wendy Williams projecting? What is Fox 5 projecting? What is VH1 projecting? What is BET projecting? A dumbed down, useless eater people who are taking up fucking room, water, and airspace on this planet. That's what it's showing the world. And when the world gets ready, they're gonna press the flush button on you niggas. Bottom line, you are becoming the most undesirable people to ever walk this planet based off of a lot of hands in that pot making you look, making you appear as, making your contributions of your ancestors. Because they attacking that as well with the movies showing our people are subservient, you know, just meek, you know, meek, weak, you know, sorry ass people. That's not who he was. Go read all of the inventors that came out in the 1800s, about 300 of them. Where the hell did they come from? Go read about the Moors in Europe who took the crack off of his knees. They were living in filth. The kings lived in a barn. So what part of us being savage in the jungles of Africa, what part did that come in? Like, what chapter of the movie did that shit come into? Because we came into Europe and got them off of their knees. We came into Europe and stopped them from eating each other. We came into Europe and taught them how to have sex with the opposite sex and not with the sheep and not with the dog. And they came into the Americas and breathed on our people and killed about a few million of them. That was the germ warfare, German. Go do your research. Okay? So it's called trading places. Now you're the illiterate. Now you're the savage. Now you know nothing. Now niggas are living in their dark ages. How about that? Okay? How about that? So I don't know why there's a few bright, you know, lights amongst all of this darkness. I don't know why, you know, a certain group of us, 5% of us have been selected to think rational and to have logic thought when it comes to what the hell is going on around us. Like, we can't tell and we can't smell and we can't see. You know, I don't know. I don't know why niggas feel that it's important to sleep outside for sneakers, or why they think that having sex with multiple women make them men. I don't know. But I could trace it back to the fact that our culture told us that's what we supposed to be doing. Get rich, nigga, or die trying. You know, we don't love these hoes, and all of these things comes back from the same culture that one of their members said, I don't have nothing to do with the issues of black people. All I gotta do is dress in Roman clothing, have sex with multiple women, sip lean, shoot some dope, and I'm Gucci, and collect a check. That comes out of that culture, so that culture is an enemy to the progression and to the upliftment of our culture. That's a fact. And that shit has to change. So yeah, in order to wake our people up, we got to take our culture back. We have to implement knowledge. We have to implement a level of scholarship that exceeds Ivy League schools, so our babies will grow up with some kind of thought. You know what I mean? So they could compete with people around the world. Forget about the white American. He's nonchalant. He doesn't even factor into the global conversation. You got the Manchurian, the Asian. You got the Eastern Indian, and you got the continental African who don't see you like you trying to see him. And that's a fact. You know what I mean? But shout out to all of my brothers and sisters from the continent, because we know that y'all love your brothers and sisters in America, but we know that there's you know, shit, we're gonna have to sit at the table and have some conversations, because overall the sentiments that we share amongst each other has been officiated by somebody that's not our people. That's your colonizer or your conquistador or your conqueror. They the ones who have perpetuated the conversation of us being enemies of one another. So, you know,
Leave your contact info, Red. Contact info.
the GoFundMe is in the link. Shout out to the people who have supported. We need more support. We need more investment. We need more brothers and sisters on board, because look where we at. You know what I mean? What we gonna do? It's time to move. It's time to mobilize. All of that. You know what I'm saying? It's action time. It's time to build. It's time to get things going. So shout out to everybody. Salute. KingsCounty.BigCartel, KTL Empowerment at Gmail. Salute. Peace.
Peace, family. This brother Rich from UGR, urging all my viewers and subscribers to help support the channel by donating just $1 to the UGR PayPal account. We appreciate the viewership and support, and we understand the power of $1. If you benefit in any way, shape, or form, we ask that you donate $1, whether it be monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, or yearly, so that we can build our brand to compete with the NBCs, the MTVs, and the Foxes of the world. I figure since Kanye could ask Mark Zuckerberg for $1 billion, I could ask my subscribers to donate $1 so I could make the best possible content possible. The main objective of this channel is to inspire you to become the greatest version of yourself. So hopefully throughout the years of you watching this program, you have been inspired to become the greatest version of yourself. If you would like to donate, you could go to www.paypal.com and send a donation to richandmerit7@yahoo.com. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your program.